Welcome to our presentation on digital citizenship, with a special focus on bullying through social media, texting, and other electronic means. This presentation was created by Kimberly Ligon, Katie McKeever, and Summerlin Middleton. Two guiding questions to consider for this presentation are: what is cyberbullying and how does it affect our young generation of students? And how can schools, students, families, and teachers identify? We live in a new age of electronic communication. Status updates, tweets, emails, and text messages are steadily replacing handwritten letters, phone calls, and even in-person conversations. With more powerful mobile devices and widespread wireless networks, people can communicate at any time from any location with virtually anyone. Cyberbullying versus digital bullying. Cyberbullying and digital bullying overlap, but they are not the same. Cyberbullying refers to targeted, intentional abuse directed at specific individuals. Digital bullying is a broader category that includes harassment, false information, impersonation, and other forms of online harm. What is
When we're mean, we might say or do things that hurt others. We might be feeling angry, upset, or jealous. It could happen once or maybe even twice. Being mean is not okay, but bullying is much worse. Bullying is when someone uses their power, repeatedly, to hurt or upset someone. It could be hurting them physically, or calling names and saying hurtful things. So then, what's cyberbullying? Cyberbullying's like bullying, but it happens on the internet, or on a device like your phone, which can make it kind of different. With cyberbullying, it can feel harder to escape, because it can happen anywhere, anytime. Also, it's easier for cyberbullies to hide who they are. Plus, other people online could see what's happening and even gang up on someone. If you ever face bullying, in person or online, remember to act. Ask for help from trusted adults. Remember that some serious situations may require adults to involve others to keep you safe. Parents, teachers, coaches, counselors, and family members could be part of your network of support. Collect evidence and report the incident. Take screenshots and save any harmful messages to help adults understand what happened. And take care of yourself. Share your feelings with close friends or family who can help you feel less alone. These steps work if someone else you know is being bullied too. We're stronger together. So what will you do if you see cyberbullying?
This infographic highlights major forms, statistics, and impacts of cyberbullying, helping us better understand the scope of the problem. Challenges, drawbacks, and risk. Social networks can be misused for harmful behaviors such as cybercrime, hacking, terrorism, addiction, rumor spreading, social isolation, physiological harm, distorted communication, and violations of privacy.
Well, today was the first day for nearly 250,000 kids here in the area, and while each new school year has its own challenges, our kids are exposed to more bullying now than ever before, really. This isn't just as high schools we're talking about, right? Most will experience it as early as elementary school.
Well, we used to, if someone had a problem or if they stole your lunch money, then you're right. You met them on the playground, you said, "What's up?" and you took care of business and it was over. And then you were best friends playing football.
Times have changed, and with them, the way in which bullies are targeting children in school. The problems are beginning for kids oftentimes before leaving elementary school. Part of the bullying issue, says Vince Callahan, a mental health expert for nearly 40 years, is social media and the amount of access to it.
What used to be on a playground to now it's cyberbullying, where our entire self-esteem is dependent on whether or not somebody likes us on social media.
As comments linger on social media, many kids can't just run from them. In a recent annual survey from the Boys and Girls Club of America, 40% of children and teenagers say they've been challenged with bullying at school within the past year. 18% of those who responded said it linked back to social media.
I think it's really because of the screen time. I think there's a relationship between how early kids are getting on screens and the lack of attachment.
Callahan says things changed during the pandemic with kids isolated and some being babysat with devices. Engagement within the family has suffered.
So how you relate to people, how you relate to and see the world comes out of your family system.
Callahan assures parents that if they get more involved and lessen the screen time, that can lend itself to learning what issues are happening in school, or better yet, online. He says this can lead to bullies being held accountable and create an opportunity to let the school know.
If I attach to my child, if I'm meeting their emotional and physical needs and I'm attaching to them, I'm creating self-confidence, sense of self-worth, healthy self-esteem. Guess what? Bullies don't pick on people that have a healthy self-esteem.
Impact on academic performance. Cyberbullying has a direct negative impact on students' academic success. Victimized students often report lower grades, decreased motivation, and a weakened sense of connection to school. Research also shows that college students who experience online victimization report reduced learning ability, lower satisfaction, and poorer academic adjustment. Solutions and prevention by adults. Adults play a critical role in preventing cyberbullying. Key strategies include providing education and resources, building school family community partnerships, improving awareness in online social competence, distributing helpful tip sheets, monitoring online behavior, and asking youth important questions when concerns arise. Tip sheet examples. These examples show what practical tip sheets can look like, offering clear actions for parents, educators, and students to recognize and respond to cyberbullying. Solutions and prevention by students. Students can reduce their risk of being targeted by communicating only with people they know in person, avoiding engagement with cyberbullies, blocking abusers, reporting harmful behavior, talking to trusted adults, practicing empathy and communication skills, and protecting their personal information online. How teachers can identify cyberbullying. Teachers should watch for warning signs such as suicidal thoughts, personality changes, declining physical or emotional health, excessive absenteeism, withdrawal from friends, academic decline, and sudden changes in behavior or social patterns.
When I was in the 7th grade, I gave my class picture to a girl I really liked. And on the back of it, I wrote, "Hey baby, I heart you." Because that's what you did back in the 90s. And I was probably wearing Zubas and listening to Hootie and the Blowfish at the time. Well, she giggled and probably went back to feeding her Tamagotchi pet. And she slipped the picture I gave her into her back pocket. Now, I didn't know this at the moment, but the picture didn't make it into her back pocket, and instead landed on the floor of a middle school hallway. And it didn't stay on that sticky, influenza-covered ground for long, because I was sitting in class later that day and I saw a group of kids across the room looking at me and laughing. And one of them was passing something underneath the table when I walked over to them and asked what they were laughing about. And one of them just looked at me and said, "Hey baby, I heart you." And I was like, oh no, they've seen the picture. I went back to my seat and watched the laughing spread throughout the room like a virus. In the hallway and other classes, kids would come up to me and say, "Hey baby, I heart you." And I was mortified. The rest of that day I tried to hide from everyone and sneak in between classes without being seen. And I went home that night never wanting to go to school again. I didn't want to face another day of shame and embarrassment. But that night, my friend called me on this strange device attached to the wall in my kitchen, and he said that he got a hold of the picture and would destroy it for me. And the next day at school, a couple of people gave me a hard time, but the photo evidence was gone. It disappeared, and most people moved on pretty quickly. Now I'm a high school teacher, and nowadays when an embarrassing or revealing picture or post gets put online and spread around, it doesn't just disappear. It lives on screens and Snapchat stories and Twitter feeds and screenshots forever. When those kids found my picture and passed it around, some of them used it as a tool or a weapon to hurt me in a way. Well, with the ever-changing world of digital technologies, the weapons have gotten a lot stronger. They're sometimes even lethal. Suicide is the third leading cause of death among teenagers, and cyberbullying is causing more and more of them every year. I've heard too many stories of rumors flying around about my students, kids in my class who I care about, getting slammed and shamed online. And sometimes I don't think it's even with malicious intent. The anonymity of the internet makes it so easy to do major damage. A simple retweet or clicking like can send a rumor or a picture to thousands of people. But I think there's something teachers can do about it. Teachers hold a captive audience, and what we say has a tremendous impact on our students. While not everything we say is retained by kids in our classes, students are often listening. Instead of just using this influence to teach math or science or English or history, teachers also need to speak out against destructive practices like cyberbullying. Hold class discussions about it. Share suicide statistics. Get on a pedestal every now and then. It's easy to think that everyone knows the consequences of this kind of thing, but many people do not. And the classroom should be a place for them to learn. I've overheard students talking about friends of theirs being targeted online, and even about how they themselves are targeting a certain person. My temptation is to ignore what I've heard and avoid getting involved in students' problems. However, this only allows abuses to continue. In every situation I've been in to report or deal with what I've seen, the victim of the bullying appreciates the support. Students should know that no matter what, their teachers have their back. Teachers and administrators can definitely help to prevent cyberbullying in schools, but no one is as influential as the students. Students should be empowered to be leaders who stand against mean behavior online. Encourage kids to report abuses, stand against bullies, and comfort those who are attacked. Anti-bullying groups and organizations are good and should be encouraged, but the most impact comes when students feel empowered to stand against it in their own social circles. A teacher has many roles, but probably the biggest is ensuring the safety of our students. Because of the internet, this is more difficult than ever before. However, it's also more important.
These resources include research articles, videos, and government materials that provide additional information on cyberbullying, its effects, and strategies for prevention.